Hello and welcome back. I hope you're having a quality time wherever you are watching from. In this video, we are going to do what I call searching for truth in the streets of SMA. I'll be looking at the question, is it good to speak ill about the dead? Welcome, Peter Henry.
Thank you very much.
So, what do you think of this question? So many times some people debate on the issue about the dead. Some people say it is not even good to even talk about the dead. But since this question is about the dead, I want to ask you, do you think it is good to speak ill about the dead?
Nihil nisi bonu. Good. It's a Latin phrase which means that of the dead speak nothing but good. If I'm to answer this question, I will attack it from two dimensions. I will try to combine the traditional view with the ethical view, and then I will also speak on it from the Christian point of view. And to speak ill of somebody on the ethical level, normally it is morally reprehensible to speak ill of the dead. So from the moral point of view, that is from the ethical point of view and the traditional point of view, when someone dies, you don't speak ill of that person.
That is from the ethical point of view.
Yes. How do you speak ill of somebody who cannot defend his or herself? It is not good. And if you look at it in our world today, when someone dies, no matter how bad that person is, there is something good about that person. Why don't we focus about the good and leave the bad to go? Why speak ill of somebody who is dead? What do you gain? What do you achieve? If you ask me the question, is it good to speak ill of the dead? I will throw back the question to you that what do you gain from speaking ill of the dead? Now, if you take it from the Christian point of view, the scripture says that if God should mark our iniquity, nobody will escape being condemned. So if you speak ill of the dead, the implication there is that you are actually keeping record of the wrongs of that person. You are judging the person already. Will you like to be judged? No, nobody would like to be judged. So if you speak ill of somebody, you are killing that person the second time, which is not actually good. So the Bible teaches that if someone wrongs you, forget about it. Why do you keep record of that? So I don't take it as a yes to speak ill of somebody who is dead. When somebody is dead, please do well to appraise that person.
Okay, so now let's hear the opinion of Reverend Fr Sunday Tsereku, SMA. You're welcome, Father. Thank you. So, Father, do you think it is good to speak ill about the dead? Is it good to speak ill about the dead?
Actually, it is not good to speak ill about the dead because that will be judgmental. Because beginning from the traditional systems, traditional African society or any society at all, when you see someone or you hear someone or you hear that someone is dead, definitely creates this feeling of sorrow, feeling of sorry. So it is good to focus on the good aspect of the people, because in each person there is something good. Even those who are bad, there is something good in them. So when they die, definitely we have to focus on what they have done that is good and leave the other one. It's unfortunate nowadays when you go to funerals, you hear eulogies about people. Actually, those some of them are not true, but it is good to focus on what the person have done that is good and leave the other one. We don't need to paint another person different from what the person was or who the person was to create more tension or that, create more feelings. From the aspect of the church, even from the church's teaching, the church enjoins us to pray for the dead. They ask us to pray for them, for God to have mercy on them. So I think in a nutshell, it is not good, it's not wise to speak ill about the dead, because you don't know what happened to them at the point of death. And God may decide to have mercy on them. And so if we are judging them after they died, then that would be judgmental and we might be wrong. Thank you.
Okay, so let us now hear from the opinion of Reverend Fr Amos Quansa, SMA. Welcome, Father.
Thank you.
Father, do you think it is good to speak ill of the dead? Do you think, is it good to speak ill about the dead?
Okay, thank you. It is important for us, for the good of the family and the sympathizers around, not to say something to put more pain in their heart. In the actual sense, is something that is not acceptable in our society. And what is important is that the life of the person has not ended yet. Our life rests in God, and God is a final determiner of the holiness of our life on earth. And so I think that talking ill about the dead does not really go on well with our culture, and even in Christianity. When somebody dies, the most important thing is that at burial service we give words of hope to the living. The homily for the dead, the burial service is not meant for the dead person, because he has lived his life, whether being good or bad, it is between him and his God. What is important is that those of us there at the burial service, we listen to the homily, take some words out of it, and live a life that, if in case, will be better than the person who died. Sin must be abolished. Sin must not be praised. Sinners must not be praised in our community, or people who are criminals and notorious must not be praised in our community. We must frown over certain acts that are considered evil. It's very important, for human weakness can be elevated through the mercy of God. Out of our weakness, God can elevate us, but wickedness must be cut off from the society.
Let us also hear the opinion of Brother Enemari Joseph.
Okay, if I'm to respond to this question, I would rather say yes and no. You know, reality is in excess of the physical. You understand? Reality is not limited to the physical. There are realms beyond the physical. And this is the reason why we have religion and metaphysics. Outside this, it will be difficult to ground that basis for religion and metaphysics. For the fact that reality is in excess of the physical, it connotes to us or relates to us that there is another world, another realm outside of what we can perceive with our eyes. For this reason, we ought to respect the dead. We ought to respect the dead because since reality is in excess of the physical, it is also true that reality or the totality of reality is in excess of man's capability. That's to tell you that man is finite. So for instance, if I conceive an ill idea about you, since I don't know everything about you, I may not in reality know whether what I conceive to be ill of you was actually ill.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you understand me. So my knowledge of you may not be in totality. For this reason, we may not speak ill of the dead.
Okay.
First. Second, we should respect the dead. We should respect the dead because they are in a realm beyond us. They are in a very higher realm. For this reason, we should also respect the dead. The only way I think we can speak ill of the dead,
Okay.
it is not with the intention of mocking them.
Okay.
It is not with the intention of bringing their force into bear. It is with the intention of making people learn from them.
Okay.
If I want to teach a moral lesson, for instance, I could pick somebody who is no more, whose mistakes somehow, somewhere, you know, can be of greater value to the present life. Okay. People could learn from that. So that's why I say it depends on what you mean by speaking ill.
Searching for truth in the streets of SMA. Okay, so let us also hear from the opinion of Brother Chinweuba Henry. You're welcome, Chinweuba Henry.
Thank you. Wow. If it is good to speak ill of the dead. Well, in my own opinion, I will begin with the Latin proverb. But there's this Latin proverb that goes thus: De mortuis nil nisi bonum. In English translation, it means to the dead, nothing but good. And if you look at how it all started, the ancient time till this moment, I don't think it's right to speak evil or ill of the dead. In fact, during the time of Aristotle, Plato, it is considered that when you speak ill about someone who has died, you are degrading the value of his life. In fact, these people, they even believed in the afterlife. So doing that also is degrading the quality of the afterlife of the person. So generally, as a Christian, I don't just want to limit it to speaking ill of the dead. Let's generalize it. Speaking ill of someone doesn't sound good. Generally,
Even without the person being dead.
of course, it doesn't sound good. Speaking ill of someone. Talk more of someone who has gone, someone who's dead. So in my own opinion, drawing my argument from this Latin proverb and ancient period, even our contemporary time, cultural lifestyle, go back to our tradition. As a traditional man, I'm an Igbo. Going back to my heritage where I come from, the Igbo culture, you don't speak ill of someone who has died. In fact, someone who has died in our culture, no matter the kind of life the person lived, is considered to be an angel. It's considered to be in another world, watching over us in this world.
Like our ancestors. Our ancestors.
Of course. And we've heard a lot about our ancestors, that they committed a lot of abomination sacrifices. Of course, in Christian light, these are not something that we should applaud them for. You understand? But in our culture, we have that belief that when they get to the Creator, the Lord, who is merciful, He will forgive them all their trespasses. So that is our own concept, our traditional concept.